And as we are recording, it'd be great if you can mute your mics. I think Juliet mentioned that earlier, so we can reduce the amount of background noise. And I just wanted to check that everybody knows how to use the hand raise and chat function, because we will be using that to facilitate our conversation today. So I'm just going to take a breath and see if anyone is feeling that uncomfortable about using the technology. I'm taking that as a good sign, and I'm going to keep moving us forward then, Juliet. So this is the spirit of our session today, because we are having a conversation. Of course, there's quite a lot of us on the call. We just wanted to sort of capture a few principles. Everyone's view is important, and we will try and make sure that everybody has their say. We may run out of time because there's quite a lot to go through, and we want to share some things and have a good, meaningful debate with you. So if we don't get to you and you have a question or you have something to say, please do capture it in the chat. And feel free to say what you think. There's no right or wrong answers here. We are looking for all the extra brains we can get to help us shape what is really important to us. And if you can, be respectful of other people's ideas and build on people's ideas. And we've done co-op conversations in the past, and they're really good fun and really great to hear everyone's ideas, and everyone gets into the spirit of it. So I'm looking forward to our session today. If you flick us on, Juliet. So there's three main themes to the conversation today. One is to just kick off the discussion about brands. We've all been doing different things today, and it'd be just nice to ground ourselves in, what is a brand and what do we think about it, and then talk a little bit about the Co-op brand and what we think about that. And then what we wanted to do is I'd hand over then to Melody, and we want to talk about sharing what we know. We've talked about the world is changing, things are changing. And so we've done some analysis and we've done some research, talked to some customers, members, colleagues about what they think about the brand. And we want to use that to, stimulate the discussion for tonight. And then we really just want to ask you to help us sharpen our thinking. We've got to some straw man areas of interest. But we're not anywhere near done yet, and we really think that this group could help us in shaping these thoughts and ideas. So looking for your feedback and your input, please. So we're now going to look at the first area. Juliet, if you can flick us on. So what is a brand then? If you go on Google, you'll see that there are many definitions of what a brand is, but we quite like this one that Seth Godin has quoted, because he's a modern thinker, and he says a brand is a set of expectations, memories, stories, and relationships that, when taken together, account for a consumer's decision to choose one product over another. And we like this because it's not just about what you're promising to people, it's about what people are experiencing with your brand. And we've got an amazing brand that is oftentimes brought to life by our colleagues in the experience in store as well as online. And so for us, we want to think about a brand in its holistic way. So it's not just the branding or the logo, it's every part of the relationship that you have with an organization. So that's what we've defined as a brand, but we'd love to now open this up for discussion and hear from you all. What does a brand mean to you, and why is it important to define it rather than maybe just letting people think their own thoughts about it? So we're going to open it up and let's start the conversation. And if you want to just raise your hands and come off mute, then that would be great. Or you can, if you're feeling shy, you can put your thoughts in chat. Paul, great. Thanks for kicking us off.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great question. And I think in summary, I would say it's what meets your expectations.
Yes.
Because you can have different brands mean different things to different people. So let's say you take one for Rolls-Royce. That brand is more of quality and luxury. You take another brand whereby it's more for value. So I think the key aspect is it delivers what you expect and hoping for,
Yes.
and that's what to build on.
I
But it
think
could represent a lot of different things to different people.
yes. And I think that's absolutely crucial. It's not just what we say it is, it's how you experience it in terms of your own expectations. And that's why for a brand like ours, you know, the colleagues are so important, the service we deliver is so important, and what it feels like to be well served is so important. Somebody else is raising their hand. Hello, hi, Luke.
Hiya.
Hi.
So for me, a brand account is a way of extending into areas where we don't have the member density that we would otherwise need for it to spread by word of mouth. So if we've got national businesses, we need to have a national brand, because there will be many areas of the country where we don't have the members to do the membership and the cooperation. So yeah, it's a tool to replace members in areas where they're not currently against it.
Okay, thank you, Luke. You broke up a little bit, but if I was just trying to summarize what I sort of think I heard was that you're saying a brand is really about it's something to showcase what you do when people perhaps don't know you very well, or maybe in areas where we don't have a lot of members, for example. So it's really to set up a set of expectations for people. Is that summarizing how you were saying?
Well, it's a poor alternative to having members on the ground, but it's what we're stuck with.
Well, as we become a more national brand, you're absolutely right. But that you're right, that is our intent, is to become a little bit more less regionally focused. Other thoughts? Jem, you put something in chat. Let me have a little check on chat.
Sorry, I'm doing that because I'm half doing dinner for my daughter at the same time, but I'm listening.
Multitasking, I like that.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. But I was just saying, if a brand it means that you've got a set of expectations. So rather than just buying a product, if you go for a brand, you know what you're buying into, whether you're choosing value or luxury. And then also how it can make you feel. So you buy a certain product to make you appear a certain way. Someone that has a penchant for Louis Vuitton handbags makes me look a lot posher than I actually am.
I like that. Yeah, so a brand can have a positive reflection on you as a person. Philippe.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
So when I look at your question, which I agree is a really good question. When I think, what does a brand mean to me? Someone said something once that really stuck with me, and they said that a brand is what they say about you when you're not in the room, I think.
Nice.
And for me, that stuck with me, and that's what I think. So for example, if I think of a brand I really like, the way I speak about it, for me, that's what the brand is. It's quality, or it's not, or that's how I see it.
I like that. I like it that it's what other people say about you rather than what you say about yourself, because, you know, the brand is true in other people's minds, not just in ours. Bev, you had a little point in chat. You know, it's when you see and hear something which triggers a memory and an expectation on what the brand is. And my thinking is the theme tune for Jet 2, wherever I hear Jess Glynne, I know it's Jet 2. There you go. So brand doesn't need to be something you look at. It can be something you hear, something you can smell, that sort of thing. Stuart.
To me, it's a differentiator, and particularly in some of the markets that we're playing in, we've got to be able to demonstrate that we're different in some way. And I've said to you a couple of times, Alison, I'm standing in the middle of the high street in Shrivenham, and I'm trying to work out whether I go to the one stop or the co-op, and that's part of what the brand needs to be, is the thing that makes me get out from the middle of the road and go into one of the two shops.
That's exactly right. And I think that then leads us, Stuart, into, you know, why is it important to define it? So, you know, being clear about what we stand for and what we're about helps other people know what to look at, especially when in this very busy world, people need signposts and sort of indications of what to expect from brands. So absolutely. So that's great. I want to move us on to the co-op, and what we're going to do is to show a video that talks about our amazing brand. Some of you may have seen it already, but it really talks about the heritage of the co-op, and then we want to stimulate the conversation around us in particular. So Juliet, can I ask you to play the video?
Absolutely.
In 1844, the Rochdale pioneers created an idea that changed the world: the cooperative. They believed in a different way of doing business, a business that would be owned by its members and work for the common good. They believed that when people worked together, they were stronger, that principles are more valuable than profits. In World War I, the co-op were the first to introduce rationing to make sure everyone got their fair share.
The Cooperative Society have baked biscuits and made shoes ever since 1873, milling flour since 1891, producing cooperatively to consume cooperatively.
It was the start of a national movement that people joined with pride, a movement that never stopped trying to change the way things were done, a movement that was destined always to be different.
The customers own the co-op, therefore it is the customers who get the benefits of cooperative trading.
The dividend became a part of the nation's language and the household budget.
I just shop regularly at the co-op and get my dividend. You mean that pays for your new coat? It pays to shop at the co-op. Remember the dividend.
Yes, the co-op is not only a way of buying and selling, it's a way of life.
Shortcut shopping news. It's the first store in Britain to cut the housewife's shopping hours in half with a self-service food department.
The cooperative movement is worldwide. It's taken many different forms from country to country.
It's spread out across the whole United States, this co-op grocery idea. It's people's business.
And the co-op continued to challenge, to change, to take a stand on what mattered most to our members and the communities we serve. We were the first to introduce degradable plastic bags. We were the first to ban more than 20 common pesticides from our fresh produce. The first to ban the sale of alcohol pops. The first to outlaw animal testing from the making of our household products and stop the use of potentially hazardous chemicals. And we led the way in fair trade. We were the first to sell fair trade bananas, the first to have our own fair trade brand. Our chocolate, our tea, our coffee and our sugar is all fair trade. We are proud to be doing things differently. Proud to be an organisation that works for its members, and proud that we are inspired by the principles of those Rochdale pioneers.
Fabulous. I love that film. I think it's great. I love that guy's voice. It reminds me of Wallace and Gromit. So talking about brand being something you hear, definitely he's connected with that. So now we want to talk a little bit about us, the co-op, what makes our brand different. And interestingly, I was having a conversation the other day about the co-op and whether it's a brand, it's a movement, whether it's an organization, you know, and can we refer to it as a brand? So we'd love to get some thoughts from you on what makes us different. And then the other question, and this is the challenge I think we face today, is do we think that people who are maybe not members understand or care about us being different, and they understand what that difference is, and do they understand that today? Because I think in the past many people have understood what the co-op is and what the divvy was, but how relevant is all of that today, and how much do people know? And we're really keen to get your perspective on this. Hey, Stuart.
Okay, I think what I would say is you can only get people to understand and care if you actually get to engage with them. So getting them into the store or the nursery or getting them to book the holiday is the important bit, and that's where the brand has got, you know, it's back to the differentiation point. Once you get them in, you can talk to them about it. But unless you can express your brand in a poster on the window that people are going to be able to see, you've got to engage with them first.
That's exactly right. Thank you. Bernadette, nice to see you.
Hi. I believe that the brand and the cooperative values speak for themselves, and I think the fact that you just showed that film, I think lots of people would reminisce with that, where their mothers or their fathers or their grandfathers had their number. In fact, when we talk to some members, that is what they tell us. They tell us that they can remember their granny's number and how much they do it. And I think that today, coming through COVID, at the end of COVID, it just proves that we still are what we started out to be, because the colleagues did so much to keep the members and everyone that come into our stores. They came in and they were actually welcomed and made happy and made them think that actually, yeah, that's why I come to the co-op, because the people talk to me, because we have a conversation. And I believe that's where we're going to go with the co-op. I think we'll always be there.
That's great. And do you think, Bernadette, because you're very close to it, as are we, do you think that sort of younger people today, because, you know, we're a brand with a lot of heritage, do you think younger people know that about the co-op? Or do you think they are, you know, they can remember, and Bev's put in the chat that she remembers her grandmothers and mother taking her to the co-op and having the divvy. But what about younger people for today? Do you think they understand it, they get it?
I think that if their parents have been involved in the co-op, then yes, they do realise it. I also think that now that we give the student discount to the students, I think that's bringing it forward as well. And of course, now we have the young members coming through with us. I think that that's where it's going to start again, as if it's going round in circles. And I think this circle is starting again, where we will be.
Great. And we have Imogen on the call, and she wants to share her thinking, and she's a member of our MEC. So lovely to hear your thoughts on this, Imogen.
Yeah, I just thought, as obviously I am on the MEC and I'm a young member on the MEC as well, I'd weigh in here. And I do think, you know, our co-op difference is what makes us different, and it is really important. But I don't think it's out there enough with young people at the moment. I didn't even know much about the co-op myself before I joined. I had to research it and I looked into it myself. But if I didn't go out of my way to look into it, I wouldn't have just stumbled across it. My parents never really used it, so I never even had anyone in my family have the dividend number either. But I think there's lots of amazing things that would really resonate with young people today. It's just about getting the message out there and ensuring it's coherent and easy for them to understand and pick up as well, because there's lots of brands claiming lots of things. Some of them aren't necessarily claiming truthful things or as truthful as we are. But I think it is really about getting our message out there and ensuring as well, it's not just an in-person message, that it does have an online presence as well, because that's where a lot of people, especially my age group, are turning to now to look for information.
I think that's absolutely spot on. And we, you know, we're so lucky to have, you know, that perspective as we start to shape the brand for the future. So thank you. Palm.
Hello. Yeah, so for me, I think as the bit that we kind of, so looking at the video, the cooperative, the heritage is all about actually came together with people coming together to make a fairer kind of impact on society. I think the bit that we understate quite a bit, and the difference of our brand, is that you are an owner of the business and you can shape how the business can evolve and what we want to engage in. And I think sometimes that gets kind of lost in all the good stuff that we do. That the fact that actually becoming a member, then it's not just about democratic and voting, but actually you have a say, so you can go to the AGM and you can talk about things and actually you're listened to and things will change on that. So I think that is a massive differentiator for me from any other kind of brand out there. because I liken ourselves with it, like from the heritage point with Cadbury's. So actually Cadbury's have got really rich history and actually how they came about, but actually the differentiator with us is that they're a private limited company and actually they do stuff for their profits, whereas actually we are a organisation that's owned by our members, and actually they have got the opportunity to try and shape it.
That's a really good point, and that is one of the biggest differentiators. I love Luke's point in the chat that amusingly his great grandmother didn't think the co-op was valuable and different. She sounded like she was a very busy lady and had more than enough on her plate. So just I'll take one more question before we move on, and that's Emily.
Sorry, I was just going to add something to it, Alison, just that I think on brand what's really important is that it's really clear and concise. So I think when you take Paul's example of Rolls-Royce, we know that they're a luxury car brand, but with Co-op, we've got so many arms to what it means. And I think it means so many things to different people with regards to being members owned, how we support our communities, our many different businesses, being part of the wider cooperative movement. So I think it's about how can we make that really clear to mean something to everyone?
I think you're absolutely right. And because we have so many things we could say, not all of them are going to be as important or as relevant to people. So Emily, that's the journey that we've been going on, is trying to understand that better. And I'm going to move us on to Melody, who's going to talk a little bit about some of those learnings to try and get to what is it that is the most important differentiator about us. Melody.
Thanks, Alison. Afternoon, everyone. Yeah, as Alison just said there, what I'm going to do is just take you through the process that we've been through over the past year and a half to take us to where we are now in terms of brand development. The first thing we did was begin to uncover lots of insights across these 4 key different areas, one of them being the audience. So who do we believe is most likely to find natural affinity to what we offer? Who do we believe their values might be more closely aligned to ours and they might find our message compelling, and how can we get to understand those people more and communicate with those people more effectively? The other one was about consumer trends. So what's happening out there in the market? What do we need to bear in mind as we develop our thinking in order to sort of stay relevant in consumer trends? The competition, which is basically about, first of all, identifying what competitive market we operate in, and therefore who is our competition, who do we need to watch out for, and who might want to enter our space. And lastly, your co-op brand. So what is it that makes us truly different to any other business out there that we can really sort of get behind? And so what we did was we looked at those 4 areas into a lot of detail, and then we went to research. We did 2 stages of research that I'll show you in a little bit more detail later on. And what today is about is taking the learnings from that research and those 4 key areas and discussing it with you guys, get your thoughts and ideas, and for you guys to help us build on the thinking. So that's why we're here today. Just a quick overview then on those 4 key areas. In terms of market trends, what we've learned was that there are 2 main trends that we need to focus on. One is frictionless living. This one's important because it's the fastest moving trend, and it's all about the way consumers are becoming more demanding when it comes to transactions. They want it to be easy and frictionless to shop with brands, and whether that means with use of technology or a friendly face doesn't really matter, just as long as brands make their life simple and it's simple to trade with them. So that's really, really important, and even more so since the pandemic, as people have become more and more used to sort of trading online as well. And eco-consciousness, this is a really important trend as well, because it's been the #1 globally and it hasn't moved from the top spot in the last 2 years. And it's about how consumers are becoming more conscious about the decisions that they make in their life and the impact that they have on the environment. And therefore they're turning to businesses to help them to reduce their impact, but they're also holding businesses to account in terms of how they reduce their own impact on the environment. Then there's the current trends when it comes to sort of financial pressure. Obviously, things like the cost of living that we're experiencing at the moment, and the uncertainty caused by everything that's going on in the world at the moment. It means that people are becoming more and more price sensitive. So something to consider on top of everything else at the moment. and to sort of bake into our thinking. The audience. So as I said, this is about identifying a group of people that we feel that will have a natural affinity to what we offer, and we identified a group of people who we believe are a really good opportunity. They're a group of people who want to do their bit. They want to make a difference in the world. They believe in fairness. They believe in treating other people fairly, and they want companies to act responsibly, not just in terms of how they treat other people, but as I said before, when it comes to their impact on the planet as well. But they also want it to be easy and affordable to do the right thing. So we have identified that there's a growing group of people who care about doing the right thing in their day-to-day lives. So these are the kinds of people that we want to connect with going forward. When it comes to the competition, we're not saying that these are our direct competitors, but we wanted to have a look at a wide range of other businesses in terms of how they express what they're about, what their purpose is. Some of these are more purpose driven than others, but just to call out some good examples, we've got Co-op who says that what they're about is cooperating for a fairer world. Then we've got working in partnership for a happier world from John Lewis. Tesco says that they're about serving our customers, communities and planet a little better every day. Innocent, I really like this one. Make it easy for people to do themselves some good while making it taste nice too. Then The Body Shop, we exist to fight for a fairer, more beautiful world. And Patagonia, in business to save our home planet. So some examples of some articulations that other businesses use, which as has been mentioned before, they are very succinct and clear. So you know, some ideas for us in terms of how we should express what we're all about. And then in terms of our brand, you know, I think that we already know this, but when we've gone to research and when we've asked people what they know about your co-op and the brands that that our sub-brands and the businesses that we operate in, most people only know one or two, especially food or travel. But I think that if we take a step back, actually what we have as a business is really, really unique in comparison to anyone else, which is actually that variety and that range of services that can really help people live ethically or to live, make their lives easy in the day-to-day. And I think that if we were able to communicate our range of services in a way that people were, you know, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, if they don't know about it, how can we connect with them? It's a really, really good opportunity for us to differentiate with them against the competition. So just throwing it back to you guys in terms of what you think before we go into the research and the research outputs. What do you think from what we've just covered here? What insights do you believe are most relevant? And are there any watch outs that you think coming out of those main insights that we should consider in our thinking? So if anybody would like to kick off. Paul.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very interesting to what's come out, because that's really reflected my own thoughts. You'd asked me four different questions on that. I'd probably reflect on that. The thing that frustrates me most is, and I get this, I'm sure this is not just me gets asked the question. I'm in the street and somebody says, Paul, why are you so much more expensive than Aldi? And when I explain we're not just about price and explain what our values are and what our ethics are, people get it. But the problem is that message isn't getting across. So the watch out for me is all about communication, letting people know that we are different, we do care, and we value what we stand for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about getting the message right and then getting the message out there as well, isn't it? So that people can understand. Absolutely. Sheena?
Yeah, hi everybody. From a travel perspective, I think certainly what the pandemic appears to have done is heighten the awareness and the questions that customers are now asking about how we support and offset travel and communities around the globe, and how we sort of behave in a very sustainable way. And that sort of takes us out of our local community arena, which of course we're really good at. And but puts us on a more global stage, I guess. So I think that's certainly a watch out for us to. You know, there's a lot of the partners that we deal with, whose holidays we sell, that have got lots that they're doing that we can then, you know, talk about with our customers. I think certainly a watch out. I think for me though is us having our own policy maybe and our own story to tell from that side of things.
Yeah, it's about getting the story right at all levels, isn't it? So what does it stand for overall, and then what does that mean in terms of everything in terms of our actions within all of our different business areas?
Yeah.
Alison, over to you.
Am I allowed to ask a question? I think, Gina, you made a really good point in terms of, you know, how do we think about us being a brand? We're rooted in our communities, but we're being asked to think about, you know, global impact of travel and things like that. And, you know, I suppose we could look at what Fair Trade has done, where it's a global organization, but it is very much rooted in communities. So communities just don't happen to be in the UK. So I think there's a really interesting story to tell, to work with travel to get that and make it part of our bigger story. And this is definitely a challenge that, you know, the other co-ops don't have, because they don't have the breadth of services we do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alison. We don't have any more hands up, so are we okay to just flick on, Juliet? Is that all right? Thank you. So, as I said, then we went into a couple of stages of research. The first one was about identifying the brand themes, and I think Emily made a really good point earlier about we're trying to be so many different things, and we're about so many different things, and those mean different things to different people. So this was all about identifying what was the one thing that is worth putting all our effort behind, and making sure that we articulate in a really succinct way so that people can understand what we're about and feel compelled to, you know, to our brand. And then the second stage was about finding an articulation for whichever that brand theme is, and so a way to express it in a really easy to understand way. So if you flick on, please. So in terms of the brand themes, we identified 5 that came out of all the research that we did, and the 3 sort of winning themes were as follows. So the one that came first was marked as highly compelling across all the different criteria, which is all about which one is more ownable, compelling, differentiated, authentic, was ethical at heart. And this is all about how we are and have always been here to do good. We've been the friendly alternative from the beginning to other brands. So it's why we exist. We're not jumping on any kind of ethical bandwagon. This is why we were, you know, why we were created in the first place. And that really highly resonated across all the different participant groups. And the second 2, and we put them joint second, it's about grassroots good, and it's about, again, somebody mentioned it earlier, about the local impact that we have in our community, the tangible benefit that people get from trading with us in our communities. And then affordable ethics, so making it easy to do the right thing because of our range of services. You know, by shopping with us, we can introduce you to different products and services that make it easy for you. And what we learned from the research is that actually ethical at the heart was the winner, because it's the one that on its own stands really strongly in terms of the differentiator. But the other 2 are quite good proof points to the first one as well, but just don't seem to be that strong or compelling in their own right. So I think it's part of the bigger picture in terms of ethical at heart. So just before I continue again, what do you think about these as the main theme? Do you think this resonates? And do you think there's anything we've missed, or does anybody have anything to add? That's okay if there's no comments, because there's quite a few questions coming up. So, oh, Sheena says she really likes ethical at heart. Great. Thanks, Sheena. Luke, you've got something to add?
Just that you're taking something that's quite mundane, like your weekly grocery shop, and potentially doing a little bit of good with it, or some long-term objective is being met just by something mundane like doing a weekly grocery shop. I think that is a strength of the co-op movement that we don't talk about very much.
Sorry, I didn't quite get all that perfectly, but I think you said something about it being a bit
Some of the
mundane.
things- So if you go for shopping at Aldi, it can be a bit mundane.
Right,
It's not going
okay.
to add in the long term. Whereas hopefully the co-op, there'll be some long-term benefit out of it. And that's maybe a bit more exciting than just a packet of beans, a can of beans.
Exactly, and that's what we're trying to communicate with this. In terms, this is not just about looking at it through the lens of a food shop. This is about, you know, how how your co-op can help you live a sort of an ethical life by all the groups, the products and services that we offer. So the impact is a lot bigger than just a can of beans. Alison, have you got your hand up, or is that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Luke. One of the things that I think is very important is for us to be able to explain that, you know, anyone just buying a pint of milk is doing some good because of the way that we source and deliver milk, and the fact, especially our own branded products, you know, they are ethical at the heart, and people don't know that, and they don't know that even by going about their everyday shopping, doing what they usually do, something good happens as a result of that. Either, you know, we donate to schools, or, you know, we can contribute back to society. And we need to find a way of connecting what people are doing every day in their purchasing behaviors and the good they're doing just by going about their everyday business. And if we could make it as simple as that, that would really differentiate us. So I think Luke's onto something there.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, you've got something to add?
Yeah, you may be covering this later on, but the one thing I think we could probably add to that one is member-led to make us absolutely different, and member-led, ethical at heart.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah, that was another one that we looked at, and actually it came up as another good proof point to ethical at heart. So something that really supports the fact that we're here, you know, for our members, and we're here to make a positive difference in the members' lives. So definitely. Stuart?
I think Alison absolutely nailed it there with her understanding that your pint of milk is doing some good, because there is a danger that we sit in a group like this and we focus on what makes us nice and warm and fluffy and, you know, chimes with what we already know. It's hooking people in when we'll have them for 2 minutes in a store and making sure that they can make that connection as, you know, in store the first time they visit, and it resonates with them. Otherwise, there's a danger that we're just preaching to the choir.
Absolutely, it's the little things that add up to make a positive difference. And actually, that, as you said, that will come up a little bit later on in terms of some of the ideas that we've come up with to articulate that. I don't think we've got any more hands up, so shall we continue? Okay, so I think that the next section here is, as I said earlier, to get your thinking, to help us really sharpen some of this, some of our thinking, and build on what we've created. So if you can click on, please. As I said, we went into the stage 2 of research, where we took all those the winning, if you like, brand territories in terms of what we think we should stand for as a brand. And what we did is we put in front of quite a large group of participants, we put 20 sentences in front of them and asked them to sort of give us feedback and let us know which ones they feel best express what we stand for as a brand. So what we've done here is we've just picked 5 of the top 5 that resonated the most, which were making a difference at the very heart of your community. Together we make a positive impact, standing up for a fair future, making it easy to live ethically, and easy, ethical, everyday living. So they were the ones, as I said, that resonated the most in terms of an articulation of what we stand for. But again, I'd like to ask you guys to give me your feedback and let me know which of those statements do you think best sums up what we stand for and why. Bernadette.
The one that resonates with me big time is making a difference in the heart of the community. because I know how much involvement is in the regional communities, and I think by doing that, the communities that we serve know that we're there. But my thoughts are that maybe we don't shout enough about it and about what we're actually doing and how much we do in the regional communities and in the local community as well when there are small stores. And I think that's what we should be shouting a bit more about.
Yeah, so if we can craft a message like that, if it was making a difference at the very heart of the community, and that could be something that's really clearly articulated and really clearly sort of signposted and everything, you know, in all our businesses, then that would really help to drive that message, wouldn't it? That actually that's what we're about. But some of these statements are more about community, some of them more sort of future focused around changing the world. So it's about understanding what, you know, where's the centre of gravity? Should it be more sort of locally focused, or should it be more about, you know, positive impact in the world, or making a difference in the planet, etc. So that'll be good to get some more thoughts as well. Alison?
Yeah, I think that Bernadette makes a really good point. I think in this day and age, consumers are very cynical about, yeah, you would say that you're doing good things. So we could show all of the amazing things that we do at grassroots. And one of the real benefits of doing things in communities is people can see it. It's my local school, or it's my local, you know, play group, or a service to help people with dementia. It's very local and it's relevant to me. I think there's lots of great stuff that goes on in the big wide world, but sometimes that can be quite overwhelming for people to sort of believe that they are making a difference. So being grounded in the communities, which we have been forever, is a better way of showing it. And I think we just need to do a better job of that.
Yeah, I agree. It's much more tangible, isn't it?
Sure.
And easier to demonstrate in terms of the impact as well.
Mm-hmm.
Stuart?
So it's Mr. Cynical again. Yes, I think the community one is absolutely bob on. I think the danger with going for the wider ethical remit is you can get a lot of questions on your supply chain up and down, and we don't have as much control over our supply chain as some businesses maybe have the opportunity to do. I think the community one is very robust. It's something that we can prove and demonstrate. I think it's less risky than some of the others.
Yeah, I agree. It could set us up a little bit for a fail, can't we? If we make really big claims that we can't always demonstrate. So yeah, very good point. Thank you. Do we have any other comments? I think that's everyone. No. Luke.
Just that for me, I live, work, play. I stay at I have my home, but I also have spent time with my parents at their home. I have more than one community, and of those 5 different places I might spend quite a bit of my life at. In some of them, the co-op, not my counties, because you're not local to me, has got a lot to say, and some haven't. So for me, it's communities plural. Each person coming into our shop will have multiple places that they consider part of their home.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. Okay. I think I've got another couple of questions, and you can flick over to the next one. Thank you, Juliet. So just having sort of, you know, taken on board everything that we've talked about from the beginning in terms of, you know, what makes us different, what the competition doing, the trends. What do you think we really are about? What do you think really makes us different? I know we've gone into some specifics, but if we would just want to take a step back and include you guys into this stage with fresh eyes, is there anything that we've missed? And why do you think people should care?
I don't know. Excuse me, I'm going to jump in, Mel. Oh.
Sorry, yeah, Paul had his hand up, but
yeah, I think there's one word that probably sums a lot of our values up is the word trust.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we can really emphasize. If we do say something, we mean it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real good differentiator.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that's something that was a part of that whole, when we looked at what makes us different in terms of our brand heritage. And you know, the reputation that we have is that people do trust us as a brand. So you know, but so we can use that in terms of explaining, you know, when we're ethical at heart, we don't necessarily have to give too many examples. People understand what we do, but it's just, as we talked about earlier, it's the new young people who perhaps don't understand about our heritage that we want to connect with. But yeah, that's definitely something that's come up in the research as a really good point for us, that we've got that as an advantage in terms of trust, and people see us as an honest brand. The only thing is with that as well, that also comes with a level of responsibility. So you have to be able to prove with impact what you're saying. You can't just say, well, you just trust us because we're the co-op and we've always done it this way. We have to be able to demonstrate with tangible examples, which is where, you know, as Bernadette was saying about the community comes in. And I think those two go really well in terms of they go hand in hand. So yeah, very, very good point. Yeah, is there anything else that you think we've perhaps missed, or is there anything in terms of how do you think we should communicate it in a way that is more compelling, and why should people really care? No, I think we've got one more question, just to summarise today's session, which is, if you could describe your co-op with 3 words, what would they be? This would be really useful for us as we develop our thinking and as we start to really sharpen up those statements and start crafting what we will come up with as our outward statement. It would be really good to get your idea on what kind of language you guys would sort of suggest that we should use.
And we'll take your feedback in any format. You can put it in the chat or you can tell us. I mean, some people like to sort of have a reflect and think about that, but yeah, let's get the best 3 words that you can think of. If you were, you know, standing in a pub and someone asked you to describe us as an organization and why we're different and better and why they should care, what would we say?
Ethical, honest, and community. I like that.
Nice.
Yeah, sums it up really nicely. Thanks, Bev. Anybody else? It doesn't matter if it's a word we've already used, just whatever word you feel that resonates with you the most. Serve, local, community. Great. Yeah, thanks, Palm. Community's come up twice now, I think.
Yeah, I want to make sure that we capture Sheena's thought as well around together. And I think it's a really good word, because how do we explain about cooperative? Because it's not a very friendly word, but togetherness is a really nice way of looking at things.
Yep. And for that, members own the co-op and are always friendly. Yep, that's definitely a differentiator for us as well. It's really friendly, and got some lovely colleagues, I think, as well. This is something that we've learned throughout our whole research. That is definitely a point of difference for us. So yeah, thanks, Bernadette. I think that's it for now. We've got one more, doing things right. Yeah, that was actually very close to one of the statements we had, and in the top 20, Sheena, and it did do quite well. That's what we're about, doing things the right way.
And actually, Sheena, it's what's lovely about that phrase that you put down is that it's colloquial. You know, one of the things is that people, when you ask them to talk about ethics and living ethically, they say things like, I want to just do my bit, or I want to do the right thing. So they don't talk about it as ethics as a big thing. They talk about it as the little things they do every day.
You've got honest, people focused and fair. Yeah,
nice.
Three really good descriptors. Fair is one that we really like as well, because we're all about a fairer future. So yeah, thank you. Some really good builds there, Alison, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. And guys, please feel free to continue to think and send us your thoughts. I know there's lots of people who are just sort of mulling on the call tonight, but we have a moment in time to define our brand for the future and to work it through. And we really wanted, in the spirit of democracy, equality, openness, we really wanted to work it through with you guys. So please feel free to share your thoughts, and as we continue to shape and sharpen this. And I think, Juliet, we're just going to thank everyone for their time today. Oh, Luke, thank you. The future for you in a street name, so we're in a community. That's really nice. So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate your time tonight. Please do give feedback on our session. Juliet, I'm not quite sure exactly how people do that, but I think you were going to be able to guide us on that.
It is. I've just put a link into the chat box. So if you have it, it will take you less than 2 minutes. I think there's about 4 questions. I think if you wouldn't mind just clicking on that link, if you've got any problems, just email me at Mid-Counties and I can send you another link, but hopefully that link should work. Thank you.
Absolutely, and please keep giving us your thoughts and comments, because we've got quite a lot of work to try and boil it down to 3 to 6 words, because we're so amazing. But how do we tell people that? Okay, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your evenings, and we look forward to continuing our conversation. We're back to show you and tell you what we've been up to. And thank you again for shaping everything with us. We have an awesome brand, and we're going to be continuing to be awesome. And we look forward to seeing you at the AGM.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
very much, everyone, for your time. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye.